And the last one, whom you admire?
The most?
Yeah,
I think my father.
that's cool. So, how was the podcast? Did you enjoy?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I think people on the podcast would think Ranjit is a very, he's got it all sorted, but he has a book which he sits and keeps scribbling, and he'll make you wait a lot. He's a perfectionist. So, yeah, I had fun. I had fun working with him.
So hi guys, so once again welcome back to our channel guys. So this is me Ranjit and today with me new guest Vaishnavi. Hi Vaishnavi.
Hello Ranjit.
So in this podcast we're gonna know about her internship experience and her campus life guys. So she's one of my classmates. So if you are new to this channel guys, please hit the bell icon and subscribe the channel guys. So enjoy the podcast. Hi Vaishnavi.
Hello Ranjit.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, me also fine. So start with your short introduction Vaishnavi.
Okay, so I'm Vaishnavi Purohit. I'm currently doing my BBA, corporate BBA from Center for Management Studies, Jain University. I am from Bangalore. I'm a South Indian, and yeah, that's about me.
Talking about your campus life, how's your campus life going?
It's going fairly okay. Wasn't what I expected, but I think it's going well.
So what was your expectation?
I was hoping for, I think all the CMS sites would agree with me. We were hoping for a huger campus and some more time in the campus, I guess, because of COVID. This got cut short and we had to attend online for some time and offline for some time. So, yeah, just that.
Talking about your internship, so mainly today's podcast is all about, your internship, right?
Yeah.
What was the first internship you done?
So the first ever internship I did, it was like a part-time job.
Okay.
I worked at Mathnasium as a math tutor. I love math a lot. So when I just passed out of my second PU, I started working there as a math tutor for 4 hours a day. And I used to teach math for kids. So that was my first ever internship / job experience.
Okay, so how was your experience? What all new things you learned from that one?
It was actually really good. I think whatever you get into in life, you be a tutor, you work in some company, you work in a startup, you work in an MNC.
Yeah.
The main thing is communication, I believe. So when you learn to talk to kids, you learn to talk to everyone.
You mean it's really hard to convince kids?
Yes, if you can get their attention span for a period of 50 minutes to 1 hour, then I think you can get anybody's attention span for a minimum of 10 minutes. So I think that is the main take back from there I learned, and professionalism, because that was my first ever experience. I saw how my seniors would behave with the students, parents, higher authorities, all of that.
About your corporate internship, so can you just say a little bit about that?
So my first ever experience in the field of BBA was sales with Candid Confectionery. They had introduced a new line of products which was gummies, multivitamin gummies and Chyawanprash gummies, because to increase the immunity during COVID period. So it was a much required product, but people didn't know that they could take multivitamins in the sense of a gummy. It was like a chocolate.
So people are not aware about that.
Yeah, it was a very new product and a very new concept to Indian market, and I think now there are many companies who are doing really well with respect to hair fall gummies, vagera. You would have seen the ads.
Yeah.
So I worked with such a company and I worked for promotions and sales. It was confusing at the beginning as to how to do sales and how to talk to customers and everything.
Yeah. Initially it will be really hectic, right? To convince the customer. Exactly. Then talking about your campus internship, I get to know that you got a really good internship in KPMG.
Correct.
So talking about your interview experience and how did you get that one?
So I have actually taken my major as finance in my final year. And I was very eagerly waiting for a finance internship because all my experience till date have been in sales. And it's very difficult to get a finance internship when you're a fresher. So I was waiting very eagerly, and I heard KPMG was coming. So I applied for it. We had a aptitude test. It lasted for around 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours.
Okay.
I will not even lie. It was very hectic. Like, they asked us very, the questions were very different compared to other companies that I had already attended. So yeah,
it was online, right?
Yeah, it was online, but it was very hectic. Like you wouldn't know what would come next. So I had to be prepared for that.
Okay.
The interview was quite friendly. They did not, ask any technical questions.
Okay, they were looking based on that aptitude test, right?
Correct.
Okay, so interview was also done in campus only, right?
Yeah, interview was done in campus. They had come to campus. It was physical mode, and it was not very scary. Like they did not talk to me like I didn't know anything at all.
Okay.
They made me feel comfortable, and even when I was stumbling, they were like, "Don't worry, calm down." They were very friendly.
It was like only a personal round.
Yeah, it was a personal interview, but it took place for a very long time. Like
How long?
They took the interview for 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah, and then they discussed about that interview for another 20 minutes for each candidate.
Keeping you there.
No, we were sent out. There were two panelists. So first I'd go in, talk to the two panelists.
Yeah.
One was HR and the other was a core taxation related person. So we used to sit there, speak for 20 minutes, come out, and then for 20 minutes those two would discuss about us, and then the next person would.
They were just comparing each and every candidate.
Yeah, so that was making us even more nervous.
Yeah.
Like, हमने इतना क्या बात कर दिया, they have to discuss for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was the situation there.
So after coming from there, what all things were you thinking in your mind?
So I was quite nervous.
Yeah.
To one extent, I really thought I wouldn't get it because in the very beginning when I was applying for placements and everything, I didn't get through a lot of companies, and that kind of had demotivated me. Okay. So I was thinking कि चलो यार ये भी नहीं होगा, चला गया. Why even keep expectations? That was my mindset. But one thing was, no matter how many times I failed, I won't say that I was happy and all smiling even after I failed. I had my lows, but I didn't give up. Like I would apply for every company and sit for interviews, get the experience out of it, realize where I went wrong, and work on it.
Then I'm shortlisted on KPMG internship. So how was your reaction?
I froze. Like generally what I do is even if I get rejected or I qualify for the second round or something, I call up my father and I'm like, Papa ho gaya, or Papa nahi hua, this happened, that happened, or I speak to my sister. And when I got to know that I got selected for the internship, I was watching something, I think I was watching Shark Tank on Woot. I was binge watching it. And I just laid on my bed and I was like, let me finish this episode.
Then only I'm going to
check. देखते हैं किसी को बोलना कि नहीं बोलना, because I'm not sure if this is still confirmed.
Achha,
they might probably kick me out of the meeting, out of the group chat, and then I'll get to know that I've not gotten selected.
So did you receive by a personal mail or it came into your WhatsApp group?
Actually, they sent a shortlist in the WhatsApp group of our college.
Vaishnavi, talking about your company KPMG, what exactly KPMG do?
So KPMG is one of the big fours of the whole world. It is considered as a big four. So there are other companies in that, like Deloitte, KPMG and all of that. So it basically gives financial advisory services to other companies. It has taxation, audit. There are a lot of bifurcations of KPMG. IT is also one of it. That is what they basically do.
So what about your designation?
I have joined KPMG as a tax intern.
Tax.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your campus life. Initially, what were the mistakes that you have done? I mean, that you feel that okay, fine, this was my mistake, and lately you came to know and you try to rectify it. And what are things that you learned from those mistakes?
So I was actually talking to one of my sisters yesterday about how you should not make mistakes in campus life. Because I've done quite a few. I don't regret them, but I wish I could have done them better. So in the very beginning, my college life started online. So I was hyperactive. I would talk to everyone. I would mingle with everyone. And once the college started offline, I think that is where I started feeling awkward. Maybe it was because of the long gap that we did not socialize with people.
Yeah.
And suddenly going to CMS, it's a large crowd. So I think I got overwhelmed, or there was some change in my personality. I couldn't mingle with people.
Yeah.
Like
So
even
you
if
feel like you're a little bit introvert.
yeah, I felt like I was an introvert, but that is not my personality actually. Like people watching this podcast would probably think I speak to 1,000 people a day.
Yeah.
Like I can. But I don't know why in college I was not able to bring that side out of me, and I regret doing that, because there's a huge there's a very famous saying that network is net worth. Right? Whoever is joining campus life,
Yeah, what-
now, my advice would be break out of that shell.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to, and I've seen, what it also affects you mentally
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
unable to talk to people, when you're just sitting alone in college, there's
Yeah.
nobody around you. So it affects you mentally as well, and when there are people it kind of gives you that confidence
Yeah.
too.
One kind of energy you can say, right?
Yes. So I think that is my advice. Just go network. Don't care about anything. Even if someone finds you cocky, it is okay.
Yeah.
Be yourself and have fun in college, because that's the only time you'll get to have
Yeah,
fun.
because it's all about the memories that we create,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So we're talking about your bad phase of your life. Have you ever faced a stage where you feel totally depressed or totally low? At that moment where you were not able to talk to anyone. So, did you face anything like that?
I have faced quite a few, but when it comes to, I think, education wise, that's in my second PU. Because I had taken up science. I wanted to be a psychiatrist, and
Yeah.
I still feel like a part of me still wants to be a doctor, a psychiatrist, and everything. But at that point, I was so distracted, not with anything specific, but I just couldn't concentrate, sit and study. That was a very bad phase of my life. I didn't want to continue being a doctor. I quit that dream. I told my parents I wouldn't do it, and they were also very hurt, because they'd imagined me to be a doctor ever since I was in 7th.
Okay.
And that was the dream I gave them. So even I was feeling bad. It was a low phase. I didn't know what to do next, and I was feeling like a failure, which I haven't throughout my school life. And
Yeah.
I was a above average student, not so meritorious, but
Yeah.
I was doing good for myself.
Yeah.
At that point, I was feeling very low, even in career, to decide what I wanted to do, and personally as well, I had a few issues. So it was a very bad phase of my life, but I think all thanks to my parents and my family, I got through it, and they supported me like nobody else. And that's why I'm here today.
Did you learn anything from that phase?
Yeah, I think from every bad phase in my life, the thing I've learned is it never stays forever.
Yeah,
Because
you
I-
have to move on, right?
Yes, you have to move on, and you have to, like, no matter if somebody is there or not there with you. Like, I had my parents, but even if you don't have them or you don't have anybody in the world, make sure to push yourself, because
Yeah, depending on yourself, right?
yes, it is completely dependent on you. It is how you treat yourself. There's something called self-love. There's something called how you motivate yourself.
Yeah.
So do that for yourself. You will thank yourself later.
Vaishnavi, you have gone a lot of interview, right? So according to your experience, what do you want to say about marks and skills? Up to how much marks are matter according to your experience, and what do you want to say about that?
If you ask me personally, I think our education system sucks.
Okay.
Like, no student should be questioned, or they shouldn't be gauged with respect to their marks.
Yeah.
I don't think grades do justice to the person that you are. So for me, absolutely, it is skills that matter the most. But I think with the kind of society that we live in, and the kind of system that we are put into, a mark sheet is equivalent to your intelligence. That is how it is considered.
Yeah,
Right?
they just make as a mandatory,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you score good marks, okay, fine, you are going to get this. But in reality, it's not like that, right? Because up to certain level, I think marks are important. After that, it's all about your skills.
It's all
right?
about your skills. So what I would say is, see, if you're skillful, if you have that merit in you, then why not show it on a marks card?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to prove who you are, but you can at least say, you can at least shut their mouth. I have skills, I've proved it on my marks card. So I think that is how it works.
Vaishnavi, as we are end of the podcast, so every podcast I used to have a rapid fire round. So you have all the answer in one sentence, right? So my first question is, What one things that make you happy when you are sad?
The one thing that makes me happy when I'm sad is my family,
Yeah.
some good food that can make me fat, and the very next day I want to lose it simultaneously.
The best advice that you ever received from anyone?
The best advice I think I've ever received in my life was from my grandmother, and she would always tell me, even if the person in front of you is not good and you don't like that person,
Yeah.
always be good to that person, because that is the only way you can get them to turn towards you. So I think that is something I'll carry throughout my life, and that has kind of shaped my personality to be a warm person.
Yeah, exactly. So going to the third one, as I initially asked you also, but in a short, how to overcome failure?
Be positive. Don't think much.
Okay, one word that describe you.
Witty.
Cool. The last one, whom you admire?
The most.
Yeah,
I think my father.
that's cool. So, how was the podcast? Did you enjoy?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I think people on the podcast would think Ranjit is a very, he's got it all sorted, but he has a book which he sits and keeps scribbling, and he'll make you wait a lot. He's a perfectionist. So, yeah, I had fun working with him.
So, thank you so much, Vaishnavi. It was my blessing and honor to have a podcast with you. So people get to know a lot about interview process and a lot about your experience that you had, and so I hope people also enjoy the podcast. So guys, until the next video. So until the next video, try to learn something new and enjoy the process. So goodbye, take care, have fun.